we're live. What up, what up? So it might take a few seconds until we are live on all the streaming platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch. Somebody in Vietnam has access to my Twitch account, so it's kind of annoying because someone in Vietnam is having fun with my Twitch account, which, because they figured out how to hack it. So have fun, whoever's in Vietnam. I have like 12 followers on Twitch, so whatever.
That's so scary.
Yeah, like if you're gonna hack into something, oh, it works. You know, I thought Periscope was gonna go extinct, but apparently a bunch of people jumped in and saved it. So while we're waiting for everyone to stream in, Martina, what do you think about my live stream setup?
Like I said earlier, you can't go wrong with good lighting and plain background. It's better than doing like the bed in the background. I'm not a fan of like filming in your bedroom and it's like the bed hanging out in the back. So a wall is always good. And is that lights in your house for real? Or
it's like these little like stringy lights.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
They actually look good. Cool. Yeah. I mean,
Thanks.
That's good. I had to deal with the wall setup for a while, so I'm happy to get settled in and finally have like a nice background.
It's gorgeous, and as I would have expected, no less, like artsy and like, you know, just totally goes with your outfit somehow, like the curtains and your dress, like everything just looks perfect. And I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your work that you've done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just like from afar, I've been like looking at some of your stuff. I saw ages ago, I saw that it was like performance art with the milk.
Yeah.
The milk. Yeah.
Cool.
So
thank you. Oh yeah. So you like the Lady Alchemy stuff. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always really nice, you know, to have that appreciated. I feel like I was appreciated for it when I was doing it so much. And then now it's like lost its way. And I don't feel like the crew that I'm with now, you know, like the right leaning people appreciate arts that much. So it's really nice when people can kind of come out and go, I really like your artwork. I'm like, thanks. It makes me feel like cozy again, you know, like I'm doing what I meant to do. It feels good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's actually something I wanted to ask you about. So first of all, for anyone who's just joining, Martina Markota is a New York, she's an artist in New York. She's got a very, very interesting niche. She's a performance artist that has somehow been caught up with kind of like, you know, kind of politics, kind of like socially right-wing type, you know, like just like a mix of people. And so how did you get involved with Political Friends?
Yeah, I mean, it was totally accidental. It was not really something I was striving for because I had my full-blown career already. I mean, I was 30 years old in 2016 and had been doing it for a decade already. Had my whole life was Lady Alchemy, and that was my world. That was my business. I have a business, and oh wait, whoa! I can hear myself. Sorry. Oh, just testing it out. Yeah, no worries. I was like, whoa, what do I do? What do I do? I'm not a techie person, so I was like, fuck. Yeah, I had my whole career already. I was like doing all that, and we'll get into my business, but you know, I had a business account and everything was just all Lady Alchemy. And I happen to be a Republican, and that comes from me being first generation American. My family was like from former Yugoslavia, particularly Croatia or Herzegovina. And if you know anything about that history, a lot of Slavs are pretty right wing. We're very Catholic. There was a war in the 90s, the breakup of Yugoslavia, and there was, tension between Muslims and the Catholics there. There's a lot of reasons why we tend to be Republican. My grandmother, Bubba, she just has nothing but Fox News on all day long. My mother is super like Trump supporter. Like that's the way that I was raised. And I happen to lean that way. Most Croatians do. But I was an artist and I'm a millennial. So I felt like I was a little bit socially liberal and a bit of a hippy dippy and all that stuff, but I happened to vote Republican, and I didn't realize that that was a big deal. I knew that it was not in fashion or anything, and I knew to kind of keep quiet about it, but I didn't realize how volatile it was in 2016 until I decided, hey, I'm 30 years old. I'm sick of just seeing everything on Facebook, and Facebook was the thing at the time. And, just seeing all this stuff, and I knew that I couldn't interact, because then it would cause problems and it would be drama. And I mean, I was friends with so many like gays and drag queens and all that stuff, where I was like, I'm not going to rock the boat, but I wish that I could express myself a little bit. It's only human nature to want to express yourself. Holding something in so much is kind of like poison. It's not really good for you mentally or spiritually. So I thought, oh, well, and memes were a thing, and it was like just super exciting and super fun in 2016. So I wanted to express myself, and I thought, well, my whole identity is Lady Alchemy. No one that I perform with or anyone knows my real name. So maybe, and if you Google my real name, nothing pops up. So I figured, oh, I'll use my real name and kind of go out there on the scene. Gavin McInnes invited me on his show, and I just kind of created a new Instagram account and meme page. And it sort of, when they found out about that, when they found out about the Gavin show, when they found my Instagram page with memes, other performers started spreading it around and talking and whispering, and then it turned into cold shoulders, and it just, things started to snowball really, really bad, to the point where it when Trump actually won, it completely ruined my life and my career. And when that happened, I mean, it's devastating. Your whole life, all of your work, your passion, so it's not just like I sat there with a computer job in an office and I was like, well, I lost my career. It was my passion. I created Lady Alchemy. It just, it's so much of me in that. And to lose it, it was like soul crushing. So when I was getting all these nasty attacks, I just figured, oh, well, let me lean into it and just go into that scene a bit. So I worked in media and went to DC and did all that stuff. So I kind of went around in that circles and leaned into it, because I figured, what else am I going to do?
Yeah. So this is really interesting. This was in 2015, right? When most of this started. Was that when you met Gavin? 2015?
Yeah, it was I think early 2016, maybe summer of 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so how did you meet Gavin?
I just would watch a lot of his stuff, and then I tweeted at him, hey, because they were talking about girls, and the girls can't cook nowadays and all this stuff, and hot girls can't cook. And I happen to be, one of 6 kids in my family. I'm one of the eldest I have 5 siblings, and I love, love, love cooking. It's like my main thing. I love cooking so much.
Cooking show.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll do little cooking videos or whatever. And my husband enjoys it. So it's, my family enjoys it. My siblings always enjoy it whenever I'm home, my mother and stuff. So it was one of those things where I tweeted, I was like, hey, if I could call myself that, I was like, hey, I'm a hot chick that can cook. And people were like, nope, this isn't real. This isn't real. And he said, come on to the show. So, I mean, when you do a show, you know how it is. You're always dying for people to come on. So he was like, oh, come on to the show. And I was like,
yeah. Great. And I mean, and he's famous, and he's funny, and he's got all these followers and everything. Why wouldn't you go on a show?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't really know him that well. My life was consumed by liberal leftist world in New York City. If you could imagine the New York City like drag queens, gays, like performing arts, going to theaters, nightclubs, all that stuff. It was just heavily, heavily leftist. And I just would hear the leftist talking points all the time, and it would just drive me insane. And so what I would do was go home on my downtime and I would consume the internet and I would watch YouTube videos. Actually, I always like giving props to people that need it. And I don't know if you know Rocking Mr. E, but I used to watch him back in like 2013, back in the day. And he's someone that didn't really like get huge. There are so many people that just like blew up since 2016, you know, and they were like new converts to the right and everything. But there are some people like Rocking Mr. E is a really, really decent, good guy over in the UK. And I used to watch his videos in 2013, and he never like blew up because he doesn't do a lot of propaganda. He just does his like really autistic kind of thing, and I really appreciate him. But he was someone I used to watch, and I used to just consume that. And eventually the algorithm or whatever, Gavin came on. I mean, I feel like it was the wild, wild west of YouTube back then, like 2013. Yeah. You know, all this stuff was out there and we weren't getting censored.
I remember. And you know what? Like, I kind of got into politics in the same way as you. So I feel like very sympathetic to your story. Kind of the same thing. I was not political at all. I was actually in college, so it wasn't even like I had I mean, my career was that I was going to go to med school, and yeah, and then so you know, and then I met Ben Shapiro. He was like my Gavin McInnes.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I love Ben. I love Ben. Well, actually, I can relate to that. I studied math at NYU. I was going to be a math teacher. And then I got into burlesque. So my mother was always like, you could never be a teacher now. Now you do burlesque. I'm like, Mom, there's so many teachers that have pictures of like on a sports car or like nudes or something that come out. Like, it's fine. When I'm an old lady, no one's going to care. But yeah, so I can totally relate to that. I just totally went left field and went into the arts. And yeah, I love Ben Shapiro. I think he's great. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get into burlesque, by the way? Really cool. And that's very, I'm sure that's very unique on the right, because you hear, you know, people on the right are, you know, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's
different types of people on the right, because there's the ones that love the like MAGA babes, you know, and they're just like the super babe kind of bikinis and like all that sexy stuff. So I feel like they kind of appreciate it. But then you'll have the like trad people that are like, this is degenerate. But I mean, if you want to talk about like degeneracy or whatever, like it's kind of the most trad version of being a thought. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's like pretty trad for me. Like, it's not like I do the like selfies in my bedroom or something, you know? It's like corsets and feathers and 1940s costumes and hair. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, pinups are pretty trad.
And it's not like you're, you know, you shaved your head and you're like, you know, rocking a fake penis or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Which there are plenty of burlesque girls that do that, by the way. But yeah, I'm more of the like classical burlesque. So it definitely has that old school showgirls vibe. Like if you watch like an old Elvis movie where he's at a cabaret, or like they have the little dinner tables, you know, like a little circular table, cocktail, and there's dinner and everyone's all dressed up and there's like a show going on and it's like some girl and a Marilyn Monroe type movie or something, you know? So it's pretty trad for the degeneracy, if I don't say so myself. So I don't know. There's two boats. There's people that are very, very Puritan, and then there's the like, yay, we love sexy women.
Yeah,
classical sexy women. So
yeah, the people that are like, you know, oh no, Victoria's Secret's getting rid of all their angels.
Right. So that's kind of what I was like. I mean, it's so sad because I used to idolize the Victoria's Secret angels. You know, I loved Adriana Lima. That was my day. In my day growing up. Oh, God, Adriana Lima. I was like, that's my idol. I want to look like Adriana Lima. And it's so, so sad to see something. I've performed for some Victoria's Secret models for a birthday. They were like the most stunning. Yeah. I've done a lot of crazy shit, man. And it was crazy for them to like compliment me, you know? I'm just like, ooh, you know, like that's a compliment. And now it just means nothing. It's just so sad to me to see this like thing, because modeling in the 90s, they were still babes, but I think the early 2000s and on is when they started having that really like avant-garde weird look. You know, models started turning into like strange is beautiful, which I can appreciate strange being beautiful. Like obviously my artwork's weird, but the look was not like the classical beautiful look for modeling in the 2000s and 2010s. And Victoria's Secret was something that was like, they're the babes, you know, the babes are there. So it's so sad to me to see that. And then I walk by the mall or something and I see Victoria's Secret models that look ugly or like they're fat. And I'm like, what? When did that happen? Like, I could have been up there. What the fuck? You know?
But you're busy creating your own brand. I mean, it even better for you now because you are filling a market that's being strangled to death. And like you get to shine. This is your moment.
Thank you. It's nice to hear that. I don't feel like it. It's really, really sad. But I you know, thanks to you and, you know, giving me a little bit more life. We need more of that. And I think it's more of like supporting each other and trying to build things up, which is really important for like our side. I hate saying that. Like, I'm not on sides, but when I start getting mad at like things on the right or whatever bullshit, I just like look at the left and I'm like, yeah, definitely not converting there. That's not like, it's not happening. So I'm definitely still rooting for the right. And I just wish that we could help build things more and support the arts a bit more. I think the arts and culture is really important.
Yeah, and by the way, like when you say our side, I totally feel you because like again, I wasn't political really. I was very religious. I came from a very religious background, and so I had like very socially traditional views of life, you know. And even when I left being religious, I always considered myself a conservative just because I was always being harassed and alienated and made to feel like garbage. And the only people who were like there for me were kind of like people on the center right usually. They were like the most accepting, and because it's just such a big diverse, I mean, you have all kinds of liberals calling, you know, socially liberal people calling themselves conservative just because they've all it's just a group of people that have been backed into a corner that, you know, are being just by affiliation. You know, anyone who has, I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's like it's like anyone who's ever been affiliated with someone that the media doesn't like is right wing automatically.
Yeah, by default. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I kind of felt that way too. I know what you're saying because, like, yeah, I'm Croatian, so we're super like Catholic and all that stuff. And I consider myself Catholic by culture, not that I like go to mass or I like pray regular or anything. I mean, you know, prayer, meditation, whatever, same thing. But it's like I was always afraid to kind of go out there as a Republican because, you know, I did feel like I was a bit liberal socially and like I do burlesque and like and all that stuff. But just by default, by not agreeing with them, I'm like now like conservative, you know, and I never considered myself conservative. But yeah, as soon as someone starts becoming like the black sheep of the media or something, they automatically by default like come to our team. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Jesus. I love this comment. Hit the like button for Martina. Otherwise, you're a communist. And that's on YouTube, but on whatever platform you're watching, hit the like button or you're a communist.
Oh, for your communist?
No. If you don't hit
or you're a communist.
Yeah, or you're a communist. If you don't hit the like button, you are a commie. So, yeah.
For sure.
But I see this happen to so many people, and like those are the kind of people I gravitate towards. The people that either like really don't care what the media think about them, or have just been forced to not care, like you, because you kind of stumbled into it, and now you have an opportunity to make great use of that platform.
Yeah.
And and shine where there's like a vacuum, because it's like an area where you don't really have competition.
Yeah, I mean it's quite difficult, especially for like live performance, because it's so niche. But I mean, I guess it could vary. You say like artists, so yeah, it's true. It's a broad term. I think I can do a lot of the different stuff. I definitely turn more towards like video editing and Photoshop and photography. Because yeah, we talked about that, maybe doing some portraits or something. And I've definitely turned more towards that, which I think is really cool and really needed. And it gives me that creative outlet, and it's definitely needed for sure. If anyone wants portraits, hit me up. You showcase them in your tweet. Thank you so much. But as far as live performance goes, it's very difficult because it's like a small niche, and it is very New York, because like LA is mostly like TV and movies.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's something about New York that it's like the Broadway thing. We have theaters and Broadway. A lot of our event spaces have a lot of live entertainment. We do a lot of live stuff. It's a very old-fashioned thing. And so going out to dinner or out for an evening, there's live performers all the time in front of you. And it's a different dynamic having someone live in front of you. And it's a very New York. I think London does that a lot as well. But to be blacklisted, it's just like kind of cuts everything out. And now I'm in the place where I'm like, okay, I either need to own a venue or like find a venue that has no problem hosting me. And it's very, very difficult.
So live streams like this, but like art live streams where you're doing performance. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely thought about that, and I have some ideas, and I will definitely, when I start putting it all together, I'll let you know about that. But I do have some ideas, because everything, especially since COVID, has been turning towards the internet. Even like the burlesque scene has actually been turning towards the internet, but they tend to go more like, what is it called? Like OnlyFans and like things like that, or like these live shows. And I just want to be very careful about that, because I don't want to do like a, online striptease kind of thing. So I have some ideas of doing some shows online, but I have to properly execute and produce it. And I think it'll be really cool. And have various performers, not just me, but like put on a full proper show, but online, so I can showcase that like live performance aspect that the people on the internet can kind of appreciate. And they go, oh, like I see what she did there. There's someone that has a theatrical background. And I see that. That's what I'm trying to do for sure.
Yeah. Do you still keep in touch with any of the people from your burlesque days?
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people actually are on my side in the scene. You'd be so surprised, because it felt like the world was crumbling when it happens. But then you start also getting the little messages that are like, hey, by the way, just so you know, I'm on your side, and it's just like, hey, I don't want to make a big stint, like I'm scared of, what happened to you happening to me. So I don't want to say anything, but I'm rooting for you. I'm on your side. So there is a lot of that. And then throughout the years, I have had people lighting directors, like gay lighting director, that I worked with at a theater, contact me, and he's like totally conservative, and he's totally like rooting for me, and I'm just like, oh my god. And he was like, I can't believe what happened to you, it's crazy. And it just blows my mind how many people are actually on my side. And we always talk about the few that are really loud, and how much of a stink that they make is like louder than the people that don't care. Your haters are going to scream louder than the people that support you most of the time, because people that like you and support you, they're like, cool, do your thing. But the haters are like, she cannot do this, let's demand this to stop. So it's yeah.
And we notice those people the most. We're just like, oh no, everybody hates me.
Yeah, exactly. It's that that few that freak out, and they make the biggest stink, and they will contact your boss. They will contact, everyone. They will post things just to make that big stink. And that's kind of how they function. It's really And then that's why Trump won, right? Because they really aren't the majority with this. So
yeah. So okay. So you 2016. So you meet Gavin McInnes, and then you go on a show, and you know blow up in in the media, Twitter, kind of get caught up with this whole like Trump wave. Like, oh no, this is the new Trump girl, even though you weren't a Trump girl, you were an artist, and then you just kind of so then what happened? Like, how did it? So like your whole world started changing. Like, how did that feel? Like, were you like stressed out? Were you just kind of like
yeah? So when 2016 happened and my whole world crumbled, the burlesque scene is like, I don't know, unless you're like Dita Von Teese or something, like no one really gives a shit about what's going on in the burlesque scene. It's just a bunch of SJWs that are flipping out about their 2 cents. And so they were like, Lady Alchemy, can you believe it? She's this and that. And it started to like affect, my agent started messaging me, what's going on? They're saying that you're a Nazi, and they're saying if I continue to book you, that they're going to stop working, and I really can't have this. This is looking really bad, blah, blah, blah. They made a stink about at the theater that I worked at. And they started calling all the photographers that were on my Instagram, because, you link everyone you work with. You put up a photo, you did a photo shoot, you link the photographer, and then boom, they have everyone to contact and say, she's an evil Nazi, Trump supporting Nazi. So my friends kind of stabbed me in the back and made these big posts about how ashamed they are to have been my friend and all this stuff. So the whole world crumbles, and you're just like, fetal position in bed, like crying, like, oh my God, my life sucks. My whole world is crumbling. And I didn't get it wasn't like that much media attention or anything. I don't think anyone really cared. The right didn't really care either. The left certainly didn't care. It was mostly just the scene that I was in. And when I leaned in towards politics, because I had no other option, I got an offer to work at the Daily Caller in DC to do some video producing for them. And so I went there, and that is when the media picked up on me. So the media, leftist media, have this thing where they like to just like knock people off, and they want to just like destroy you if you're in like conservative media. So at the Daily Caller, they did that a lot. They started just knocking people off whoever worked there, researching shit from their background. Who's the one guy? Something Ross or Ross something. There's some guy who's very, very great at the Daily Caller, something Ross. And he's a really great journalist. There's a lot of them, and they'll dig up old posts that he's made, anything that sounded racist, and they have to make this big stink, and they just try to ruin you. So what happened when I was the video producer at the Daily Caller, they had Ajit Pai come in, who was the chairman of the FCC during the time when he was repealing net neutrality. And for some goddamn reason, I don't know why, leftists acted like repealing net neutrality was like killing babies. I mean, actually, they don't care about killing babies. So maybe there's another reference I can make. So
animals.
Yeah, it was like their reaction was like when I have a picture of me stabbing a piece of steak, they were like, "This is disgusting." I'm like, "Oh, okay, sorry." Chuck Ross, thank you so much. Lando Walker. Yeah, Chuck Ross. Yeah, they would research stuff on him, and he's had some old blog posts from like decades ago, and it's like they do this thing all the time, and they try to dig up stuff to try to like ruin your reputation. And for the most part, conservative media kind of like freaks out. And then they let the left win doing that. So every time they have to apologize or fire someone or, kind of deal with that, that gives the left power. So I really don't like that tactic that the right kind of like freaks out about, like, oh no, like we have to correct this. I think you should just say, yeah, I don't care. He said that. So what? Fuck off. So it's just like, then they can't do that anymore. They have to do the next plan of trying to ruin you. And the thing is that ruins you because if you, if you leave, let's say, Daily Caller because of that, then that follows you and you will never be able to work again. And it just like, you will not get another job at any other media outlet. And it just like, then what happens? Like they go, aha, we won. We just ruined their life. So they can never work again. And what pisses me off about it is that I already had my career ruined. My baby, Lady Alchemy, was ruined. Then I go, okay, fine, you won. Fuck you. I'm leaving New York when I'm born and raised here. My family's here. My little sister has leukemia in the hospital here. And now I have to leave and go to DC and start a whole new life. And then you try to ruin that and ruin my reputation there. So it's just like, everywhere I move, it's like, let's ruin her, let's destroy her. It's like, well, where do you want me to go? Like on the street, like begging for money? Now I'm online begging for money, and that's like trying to be destroyed, So anyway, I was at the Daily Caller, and we had a video where the chairman of the FCC, Ajit Pai, came in, who was repealing net neutrality. The left were freaking out about it for some reason. And so they decided to look into this video that I was in with Ajit for like 2 seconds. You see it? It's like the stupid video made by Benny Johnson. Oh my God, so cringy. But and I'm dancing around. I got a cigarette in my mouth. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And they try to zone in on who everybody is. And most of the other people are just normal people that don't have a big like platform. They're not social people. And me having a career as Lady Alchemy already for like a decade, I'm very much online. So they kind of honed in on who's this chick. And before I worked at the Daily Caller, I was just making like silly YouTube videos, starting to feel my YouTube thing out. And I made a really, really silly video about Pizzagate when it was like a big thing. So you know how YouTubing is. You try to take whatever's like a big concept, you blast it on the title screen so that people want to click it, and you can say whatever you want in there. So my whole title was about Pizzagate, and it was like my thoughts on Pizzagate. But if you click on video, it's actually on my YouTube. It's hilarious. It's absolutely a joke. Like I have Jesse Ventura like every 2 seconds going, it's a conspiracy. It's like the funniest, dumbest shit ever. And basically my whole point about Pizzagate was like, when I was on the deep web in 2014, I was like, I was curious. I'm just like, ooh, what's this deep web shit about? Like I was into conspiracies and all that, whatever. So I was like getting in on there, and I come across like someone in the chat room says, be careful of cheese pizza. And I was like, what's cheese pizza? And they were like, it's code for like in this realm of for child porn. So when the whole cheese pizza thing came out, the Pizzagate thing came out, I was kind of like, dude, that's wild, because I know from years ago being on the deep web, like it is a real code word. So that was it. I didn't make any claims. I didn't talk about Comet Ping Pong. I never brought up any sort of thing about the conspiracy. That was my 2 fucking cents, was that, that's interesting. And it was a bunch of jokes in there. I mean, I think I brought up something about Larry Bird, and then my friend who's producing it started laughing. Was it Larry Bird? I don't know. Then the basketball clips start coming up, and it's just funny. It just makes me look like hilarious. It's just mostly a joke. So the media decided, let's hone in on that. And we'll go around, and I had like Joy Reid from MSNBC. I had every single media outlet. I remember waking up and going into the office that day was all blowing up about how Ajit Pai was in a video with a big promoter of Pizzagate who promoted the whole Comet Ping Pong thing. And I'm just like, how can you just flat out lie? Like you just lied. That's not what my video was about at all. And they just want to make me look bad so they can make Ajit look bad, and they don't care what it does to me in my life, and they don't care that it's a lie.
Oh my God, this is nuts. I'm looking at it right now. Is it okay that I put it on the screen?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so embarrassing.
Pizzagator, that's so crazy. Like,
if you watch my video, it's so fucking funny, and it's clearly a joke. It's just the dumbest video ever.
Should I hit play? You guys want to watch it?
Oh, no, not that video. My video that they're like, that video is stupid. That's like a Benny Johnson video. Oh my God, I hate his videos.
Oh, okay.
But so like what they did was connect my old YouTube video where I was like making a really silly Pizzagate video that was just clearly funny. And they tried to conflate it that I'm a serious Pizzagator. and that Ajit Pai is connected to this like Pizzagator. And I'm like, that's live. Anyone that watches my video can see that it was just a joke. Like, and I never mentioned anything about the conspiracy. It was just a headline for YouTube.
That's nuts. They don't even, so that article doesn't even include, they call you a Pizzagator and they say that you made a video promoting Pizzagate, but they don't even include a link to the video.
Yep. Videos on my YouTube. So you check it out. It's hilarious. But
I'm gonna watch it. 1 second. I'm gonna find it. Just a second. Martina. All right. Yeah. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, Martina's YouTube channel is like linked in the description of this video. So go down and subscribe to her channel if you haven't already.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and that makes me so mad. And by the way, can I tell you something? By the way, this is a nice idea. Move to Texas. Austin has art scene. Teach Pardes burlesque.
That's true. Yeah, is Austin kind of like liberal now?
Apparently. Yeah. Apparently Austin's boomtown, they call it. Although liberal here, like today I wore a t-shirt that said, what did it say? It said PragerU in big letters, and it said, American rebel, free speech doesn't offend me. Totally the kind of shirt that I'd get in trouble for wearing in DC, but I wore it to like my very liberal fitness classes and gym and everything today. Like I wore it everywhere actually, and nobody, no one cared. Like the liberals in Texas are kind of, from my experience, nobody is that political as much as like New York and DC. So people, yeah, nobody cares.
Crazy.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird too because upstate New York, people always freak out about New York this, New York that. Yes, New York City can be really scary like that with the liberals, and definitely the New York City art scene is like that. And there's little pockets upstate that are a little bit like that. If you go to like Kingston or some sort of like art, like Woodstock or whatever, it's like you might have to deal with like other liberally people. But for the most part, upstate, you'll see Trump shit everywhere. Like it's all rednecks upstate. And so the liberals are the ones that are out of place upstate. And I kind of like it. So I feel like it's kind of like that, where like you can be in New York and you can wear your Prager shirt and no one's gonna like say anything. It's like, okay, yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
And the liberals kind of shut up because they're not in control there. So
yeah, and like I like that you can. I like that people aren't so political in general either. Like they're not. It's not like they're gonna go and hunt down every. Like if they're conservative, they're not gonna go and hunt. I mean, from what I've seen. They're not going to go and hunt down every liberal that's in town, or you know, vice versa.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've bumped into people up here because you know, it gets kind of scary sometimes when I go like and visit my family or whatever, where I meet new people and I'm like, okay, so you know, how do I introduce myself? Like I'm scared of giving my name. Like I'm scared of if they find out who I am and all this stuff. So I kind of dance around it. And for the most part, people aren't even left or right. They don't give a fuck. They're just like normal people.
Okay, this is so I'm looking at this. I'm looking for your Pizzagate video, by the way, on YouTube, and I came across a video. Can I share? It says, "LOL cow, the Catholic stripper Martina," and it's this woman named Brittany Venti.
Yeah.
Do you know her?
Yeah, she's been to my house before, and we've been on Gavin Show together.
Why is she making a mean video about you? And it's the Catholic stripper. And like
she collaborated with leftist burlesque girl. I don't know why. She's been to my house. She's
what a backstabber. She comes to your house and she uses you as an opportunity for like a tiny little video to just drag you through the mud just because she can, because she's on the left, so she can do that.
I don't think she's on the left. She went to Charlottesville and all that. I don't know. I have no idea. So you'd have to ask her why she decided to do that after she's been to my house and been nice to my face. So.
Who's Brittany Venti? Is she?
I could say something, but I'm not going to say it.
Say it.
I'm just going to say YouTuber. Let's be nice about that. Just YouTuber.
Anyone who's like just a nice person is not going to make a video like this. This person obviously has issues. Okay, yeah, her issue is that she's ugly. So I just Googled her. So yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. I see that like a lot of times it's just an ugly person that wants to hate on you.
I hate saying that, but you know, it seems to be the case because I tend to have a lot of like beautiful, beautiful women in my life that are just like, oh my God, I love you. And I'm like, I love you too. Like, you're awesome. So it's really fun to hang around like beautiful women, interesting, intelligent women. And I love to support that. So it takes a certain type of person that is scared of other beautiful women. I mean, I hate even saying that on myself because you should see me when I'm just hanging around the house doing like cooking and cleaning. I look like such a hobo. I love it.
Probably someone with a gold mine too. She was like, "Oh, here's this person that she's famous. She's got some buzz. Like, let me use her as a great tool. I'll go to her house and I'll use her as like a great, tool."
Yeah, I think that's like a YouTuber shtick is just trying to poke at certain people to create views and drama. So I think it's a certain type of shtick when you don't have any interesting things to say or talk about. So I mean, whatever gets the clicks, right?
Yeah.
Whatever gets the clicks.
So also, by the way, going back to your time at the Daily Caller, this is gonna sound mean, but I think right-wing media outlets are worse than liberal outlets when it comes to like cancel culture, because I worked at so many right-wing outlets in DC, and I also worked at a liberal outlet, and I also worked at a lot of places that were just apolitical. And the places where I suffered the most from cancel culture was definitely right-wing outlets. Right-wing outlets were like, they were like the people that like before the bad guy comes and is about to shoot you, they shoot you first. And they're like, oh, they're about to shoot us. And then they just like shoot their own.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, they were just so, from my experience, they're the first ones that will fire you. They will like stop talking to you, cut you off, stop paying you, like alienate you to Mars. Because they don't want to be associated with you because they're so afraid of cancel culture. And it's like, dude, you're so afraid of cancel culture, but the left is not canceling you the way that you're canceling yourself and you're canceling your employees and your friends. And that kind of shit makes me so mad.
I 100% agree with that. And that's my disappointment. As far as the cancel culture goes and the content goes, so working in media or right-wing media, in DC, the biggest problem is that they are so afraid of what the left is going to say about you or being labeled a Nazi, which, let's be honest, everybody gets labeled a Nazi if you supported Trump. So who is a Democrat? Let's be fair. I'm from New York, okay? He's the most like liberal, chill person ever. And if you're going around acting like he is like the spawn of fucking Hitler, then you've got issues. Like, just because you put an R next to his name that one election, then suddenly you're a Nazi. So I don't understand why right-wing media panders to the left about it, and that's absolutely true. They will throw you under the bus just to save their own ass, when I don't think that's doing them any good. I think just as a whole, they would be better if they just went, fuck off. fuck off, leftist media, you know? So I agree with that. And then also as far as the content goes, I feel like they're no better than the left a lot of the times with, there's just something about media nowadays where it's all about clicks and it's all about propaganda, and it's not about being fair and unbiased, right? That's the word.
Yeah.
And I miss that kind of like journalism that can be a bit fair. And sometimes the right gets really caught up in clickbait, propaganda, and all that stuff, like one to make sure it's twisted a certain way because we have to pander to the right-wing audience and keep that, you know, going and going and going, and perpetual outrage going, when you can just do like the normal like journalism. It's okay to be like, okay, they have a point about this, however, you know, there's this point and that point, you know, but they don't want to do that. They just want to go, you will not believe this, and just turn everything that way. Because there's so many times in the office we've joked about like, yeah, actually we kind of agree with this, or like, oh, this is kind of bullshit, but you know, it's going to get clicks, so let's write it up. And I'm like, why do we have to do that? I don't agree with that at all. Like, can we be fair? Do we have to do everything that's going to get us clicks, just even if we disagree with it? So
yeah, and like at the end of the day, even if short term it's going to get you clicks, long term it's not sustainable, because like, just, you know, people catch on eventually, and they long term people gravitate towards like the most original voice in the room.
yeah.
And that's why like CNN is, I don't know how their ratings are doing nowadays, but I know it's bad. Like, I think from what I heard yesterday, a number that I don't want to get wrong, but apparently Brian Stelter lost like 72% of his viewers or something ever since January, because he was getting like all his views from Trump, and he would just, you know, the same old talking points they were just sticking so hard to like clickbait and not to like actual content, that when their clickbait material disappeared, Trump, now suddenly they have no viewers. And so it's like, long term, it's silly, because now nobody cares about Brian Stelter, because everyone only cared about him because of like Trump, because he was, and Jim Acosta. Oh my gosh, do you remember that guy? He was so famous. No one even knows who he is now.
That's true. People don't bring him up anymore at all. Yeah, I don't know. I miss I say good old days, but like it was always kind of, media is always kind of assholes and shit, no matter what time it was. But I do remember reading articles from back in the day that were like actually long, actually research. I mean, remember when journalists were going out to like Iraq, and you know, they'd get killed in the line of trying to like find, you know, what's going on and all this stuff. Nowadays, it's just like 150 words, and it's like, you'll never believe what Melania wore like at this event, you know. And it's like, I love fashion, cool, I'm into it, I love what Melania wears, but like, how come when I bring, you know, some sort of topic that could be interesting or whatever, and it's a bit more thorough, it's like, it's not going to get clicks. Let's go with the Melania outfit. It's like, oh my God, like, why is it all about clicks? Why can't someone put a full research? I mean, to be fair, Chuck Ross does a lot of that good stuff, but you don't see it, and you don't see that much clicks on that stuff. But I think that's really good journalism.
Because people were, in the past, I think people were just had better attention spans, and they were able to be more in tune with real art. Like, now people's minds are very surface level, and that's why I think it's the same reason why so many of us are like so many people are depressed and lonely, because they're not able to think like.
That's true. I think Twitter doesn't help. Social media doesn't help. Everything's very, very surface level, headline driven. It's, what is it called? The endorphins and stuff that happen with these really quick. And I think that's why that perpetual outrage is used on both sides in the media, because there's something bad. It's bad. I mean,
being induced.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the same point with the Venti thing, where it's like, gossip is also like a sin. It creates this like obsession and this not poison, but like a sickness, you know, it's like an illness that is just like an addiction. It's an addiction that, you know, one wants to consume more and more and more, and you just get caught up into all that. So that, I don't know. I just really like the full good, decent journalism, the full thought out, thorough. I mean, I want to see an article where it was like something it's not confirmation bias, something that I didn't know, like bring to my attention something that was like, wow, this is going on in the world. And no one knew if it's going to be, you know, a hit with clicks or not. But the journalist thought, this is what I think the people need to see, instead of feeding them milkshakes. So the way the media works is, let's feed them like fast food because like it's good. They know it's tasty and they're addicted to it and they want to see that. And we're going to get clicks. So let's feed them that, as opposed to like, this is what I think the people need to know about. That's what journalism's supposed to be, is bringing things to the attention of the people that is important, as opposed to feeding them what they want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And the same with art.
Yeah.
Creating art. Like I asked you yesterday, your opinion on like, how can I get inspired to produce real, like in my own life, to produce like actual art, or, you know, inspired to write or whatever. And you said, you know, you suggested going out in nature, meditating, like, you know, thinking about life. So those kind of things, like, that's also something that's kind of being lost in art, I'm sure, now, because everyone is just feeding off of each other's art. And now because your industry, like performance art industry, it's all like just very one-sided, kind of like SJW themed artists. So they're all kind of like feeding off each other's art. So you're trying to create like a more authentic.
Yeah, like, for sure. I mean, I try to be, and that's always been the goal. And I think it's definitely a soul-fulfilling way of making art, is just like finding, sounds corny, it sounds cliche, but what's true to you, and working with that. And I get annoyed too, because I don't want to be like this, but I have noticed since I've been blacklisted that all the bitches in the scene have been rocking my look since I left. Those bitches pushed me out of the scene and then started stealing my kind of aesthetic. If I, you know, and you can do the research. And if you scroll on my Instagram and you go to like 2014, you'll be seeing a certain aesthetic that is very Lady Alchemy. And then suddenly now in 2020, it's like, everyone's got the headdresses in my look. So whatever, I got to find another thing now. But that's kind of what it's like when I think a lot of liberals too are stuck in the city. I think they resent like country people. They call them like rednecks and stuff. And I don't know, especially in New York, it's such a small patch of land. And I'm from, born and raised in New York. I was born in New York City, but I grew up outside of the city, out in the country. And so I love all of New York, the various things. New York has green mountains. We have the Hudson River. There's hiking. There's waterfalls, a lot of waterfalls and hiking. It's just such an amazing place. There's a lot of, it's colonial too. So we have a lot of these estates and manors and just like really old world looking things, castles in the Hudson River. It's amazing. So I have this luxury of being able to like leave the city and kind of recalibrate my senses and get in tune with nature and myself, and kind of, and I mean, it's alchemy. So obviously that's part of it, is like trying to solve it coagula, which is like separate and combine, you know, like refine yourself. And I feel like there's a bad habit in the scene, in the city, in the art scene of just seeing what other people do and trying to be like, oh, I want to do the next cool thing. Oh, I want to do that, you know, and it's just like everyone's just trying to outdo each other and like grab from each other. as opposed to just like creating their own kind of thing. It's very rare. And there are some amazing talented people, and they do have their skills and their sort of thing that they do. And I really appreciate that. For the most part, I'm so cool with all the really talented ones. But all of the other like fluff people that are just average, they tend to just kind of go, oh, and like try to outdo and try to copy each other. And they're not stopping and getting away from the, chaotic city and the scene. And they're not stopping and finding what resonates within themselves to create.
Yeah. And they're annoying. They're so annoying. Like the people that kind of, it's a personality type, and all these people, like part of the reason why, even if I'm not a communist or anything like that, but even if like I were to go full communist one day, or like become like a socialist, or take up like every single crazy leftist political opinion, I'm still not going to call myself a liberal, because people who call themselves liberals, like all of the people that are like followers are usually, like in big cities at least, are going to end up on the left. They're not gonna, and so like I don't want to be around that kind of thing. Like the kind of people who, like the people that you work with, are gonna put you down, make fun of you, but like call you like an outsider or like uncool or whatever. And then when it's cool to do so, they'll take your style, or like they'll repeat your talking points or whatever it is, when it's fashionable enough to do so. And so like that personality type drives me nuts. Like it drove me nuts in high school, and it's like the same thing now.
That's true, because even their talking points are similar. So if you think about the talking points with their politics, how we can all roll our eyes when it's just like they start going into like, actually, reverse racism doesn't exist, it's institutional. When they start getting into their damn definition, is that verbatim that they all kind of say because it's a trendy thing to say. If you think about that, that is exactly what it's like with the art. Yeah, exactly like that, where they start becoming so predictable that it's just kind of like, oh God, like there you are doing the same old thing. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we only have like 2.5 minutes left, and so I want to ask, first of all, everyone follow Martina on Twitter at Martina Markota, and subscribe to her YouTube channel. Both her Twitter and YouTube are in the description of this YouTube video, and I'm also going to include her Instagram because I forgot about that. And that's actually where you'll see like a lot of, she posts a lot of cool things on Instagram. But also I want to ask you, like, so you mentioned that you were thinking about like a few different things, like maybe live streaming or things like that. What do you see yourself like most certainly doing in the future with the brand Lady Alchemy?
Okay, so I have some things up my sleeve, and I don't want to give it away because then I'm gonna have some people fucking stealing my shit. But let's just say that it won't really be burlesque. So I'm gonna kind of change fields a little bit, but it's still gonna be about aesthetics and stage performance, but it's not going to be the burlesque. So I have another direction that I'm headed, but it takes a little bit of, like any sort of skill, it requires a lot of practice and preparation, even if it comes natural to you. But this one in particular takes a lot of preparation. So yeah, I think I'm branching out of burlesque. I have two other things that I'm branching out of burlesque. One is a stage performance thing. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is yet because I have to perfect it before I go out there and go, ta-da, the new me. But the other thing is, as far as making music goes, now hear me out, not a singer. I cannot sing. I wish I could sing. It would be so amazing if I could sing. I feel like I would blow up if I could sing, but I cannot. However, I do know how to play multiple instruments. I know how to read music. I know how to do all that. So I may try to kind of do some sort of experimental music and see what kind of direction that could go. Not expecting to be this big, pop star or anything by any means, but I think it'd be really fun, especially because as a stage performer, I use music. I use music to perform to. And it's always a difficult thing to pick the music. I always like music that is not, people have never heard of. And the most common questions that I get or comments that I get is, what song is that? What song is that? Like, DM me that song. And I love that because not only do I not like the popular thing, but it also creates like a psychological aspect of like the first time someone's hearing something, they're viewing my artwork. So it creates like a unique kind of experience as opposed to hearing that, song that you've heard on the radio a million times and performing to that. It creates like a really unique experience as a stage performer to have an original song, and also like, dealing with YouTube and all that stuff. And even on Instagram and Facebook has been such cunts about copyright with music.
Oh yeah.
That it's so annoying. And all the free music stuff is just so tacky and bad, where I'm like, I'm gonna make my own sounds and I'll use that. So that's another direction that I'm
so excited.
Thank you.
When and I'm sure that's like gonna be difficult. Like you're probably gonna need to hire some people, or do you do it all yourself?
I'll probably do it all myself, honestly. I have all the equipment. I got my flute out of storage. Haven't played that thing in a while. So I love like Ron Burgundy because like he just has all the aspects of me that I like love. I was like a news anchor at one point. He does the jazz flute. So it just like makes me laugh because I'm going to bust out some flute action is what I call it. But it'd be really fun to use because I have all the Adobe suite, the Creative Cloud or whatever. And it'd be really fun to kind of make some music, but then put it into programs and see kind of what I can do. Not super good at all that programming and music or making original music. I'm actually really good at reading music. I know how to read like Rhapsody in Blue or something like, like Tchaikovsky or something. But to create my own music, it's not really my thing, but I'm willing to try. So
I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. Like when, where would we find it? On YouTube?
Yeah, but the thing is, so I don't know if you noticed, I don't know if you know this, but I have two aspects to me. There's Martina Markota and there's Lady Alchemy. And it's a really big distinction for me. So Lady Alchemy is the aesthetics, it's the creative stuff, it's that side. And then the Martina stuff is like what you see here, like the nerd talking. Lady Alchemy does not present herself this nerdy. You know what I mean? I'm just like a dweeb. But Lady Alchemy is like poised and a goddess, But Martina is, I do the art history, etiquette streams, things like that. So you can always look that up on all the platforms. There's Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube under Martina Markota. So check that out if you're into. So yeah, I'm sorry, I know it's time to go. But I do art history streams. I think it's really important. Art and culture are super important, and art history is just super fascinating. And we just talk about a lot of great stuff. And sometimes it loops into politics, and we make points, and it's really, really fun. Then there's etiquette, and etiquette is really important because the left try to control thought, speech, writing, all sorts of stuff as a way of like. But we already have a mechanism for social cohesion. And it's called etiquette, which they try to like get rid of because they think it's old fashioned and outdated. But really, etiquette is about respecting others around you. And I think it's kind of trad and it's kind of cool. So it makes us, I think a lot of people are waiting for the etiquette streams to come back because we kind of all learn a little something when we go through this Victorian era etiquette. It's kind of like, that's a really good way of like introducing people so everyone's comfortable. That's a really interesting concept it just reminds you of stuff that you never really thought about that kind of helps you be more personable. And it's really, really fun. And I think it's important. But what else? Those two things. But then I have my Lady Alchemy stuff, and it's exactly the same thing. There's Twitter, Lady Alchemy 33 on Twitter, and on Instagram, Lady_Alchemy. And on YouTube, you can always look up Lady Alchemy. There's not too much on there other than a few of my art pieces that, and again, I was a live performer. So most of the stuff I've done has been done live and it's forgotten about and it's just into the ether of the universe, but a little bit of video stuff on there. And I want to do a little bit more. So if you're interested in seeing more of the weird creative stuff, just stay tuned. I'm going to be doing more on the Lady Alchemy stuff. So two sides to me.
It's all in the description of this YouTube channel.
Thank you so much.
Yes, of this YouTube video. Sorry. So yeah, you'll see it in the description if you're interested in following, and definitely do so. And so I'm excited. And you're gonna keep Lady Alchemy. Okay. So I'm really excited for those things.
Thank you.
Also, lastly, someone asked. Sorry. Mike Ma is making music?
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm interested in seeing, although I followed Mike Ma on Twitter a few times in the past and he keeps blocking me. Apparently he blocks girls. So let's see. Someone said, Pardes asked, so Jesus asks if you were cold in the snow with just the red feathers, and he says that I think that picture is really vibrant. So there was a picture of you in the snow with red feathers.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised how many times I've had to shoot for some reason in December in New York. So many times I'm like outside and you're just like, God damn it, why do I do this to myself? So I'm hoping to get out in the summertime now that it's summer and like find a waterfall or like something and take advantage of the heat and the nature around here, because for some reason it's always in the winter. It's always freezing.
I'm so excited. And also, guys, I'm gonna do a photo shoot with Martina and in New York City. So I'm so excited to like get a glimpse of how that's done. That like, yeah, it looks really cool. But I'm sure a lot more work is put into it than just what.
Yeah, it's so like exhausting. Let me tell you, when you do a shoot, it's way easier as a photographer. Whew, I love just kicking back, not giving a shit how I look and just snapping away. But it's definitely like exhausting, like you just ran a marathon after you model. So have fun doing that, being my model.
Yeah, I can't wait. All right. Anybody have any last questions before we say goodbye? And also, will you come on my live stream again?
Yes, of course. You should come on mine too. I haven't been on in a little bit, but when I get back on, it'd be great to have you as well. I think we have some of my people in here too, so I'm hoping they also subscribe. I've been telling everyone subscribe because it's all about like the sharing and you know, building things. So I hope my people are also fond of the stream.
Yeah. Okay, I'm so excited. And thank you so much, everybody. Like this video, subscribe to all the things in the description, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and let me know if you have any questions for Martina after this. Stay updated, keep following so that you can see like when Martina has her new art pieces coming out this, you know, upcoming in this summer or, you know, in a few months or something like that. And sorry, my computer froze, so I'm trying to end the stream. So I'm gonna say bye.
Yeah, I noticed that.